Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos, and in today's video we're going to take a look at Sunfury, the final Mage hero talent tree to be revealed, and it was revealed in the form of becoming playable on the alpha. So this tree is sweet. It is shared by Fire and Arcane. We're going to take a look at it first through the lens of Fire, and I'll swap over to Arcane, and we can take a look at it, how it functions slightly differently in that tree. But this is themed loosely around, well, not loosely, this is themed heavily around Kelthus. So I've logged into my character here, Kelthus 2, on the alpha servers. And let's take a look at what we get from Sunfury. So the top node is Spellfire's Spheres, which says every 6 times you consume a hot streak, you conjure a Spellfire Sphere. While you're out of combat, you'll slowly conjure them over time, and every Spellfire Sphere increases your spell damage by 4%, stacking up to 5 times, and that is actually a choice node that I have that's making that 5 instead of 3. It is 3 baseline. At the bottom, we have Memory of Alar, which I guess we shouldn't look at. Usually I like to look at these trees, top and then bottom and then middle, but Memory of Alar references this node, so let's go look at this one instead. Invocation Arcane Phoenix. When you cast Combustion, you summon an Arcane Phoenix to aid you in battle. The Arcane Phoenix aids you for the duration of your combustion, casting random arcane and fire spells. Over its duration, it will consume each of your Spellfire Spheres to cast an exceptional spell. And those exceptional spells will be seen later. But yeah, that's a pretty cool effect of it. And then, so here's the bottom node now. While your Phoenix is active, you gain twice as many stacks of Mana Addiction. Mana Addiction is this node, which says Consuming Hot Streak grants you a 2% haste increase for 10 seconds, and multiple instances may overlap, but not refresh duration, right? That's what Iron for tech. So while your Arcane Phoenix is active, you gain twice as many stacks of that. When your Phoenix expires, it grants you Hyperthermia for 3 seconds, plus an additional 1 second for every exceptional spell that it had cast. So this will be 6 or 8 seconds or something around that range, depending. And this says Power Blast and Flame Strike have no cast time and are guaranteed to critically strike. So it's kind of like a mini combustion that you get afterwards. I'm pretty sure it's in the tree as well. Yeah, it's available down here that it's a proc you can get whenever combustion is not active. Okay. Then we have Burden of Power over here, which says Conjuring a Spellfire Sphere causes your next Pyro or Flame Strike to deal 100% increased damage. Merely a Setback, which is a very, this was a extremely memed phrase that Kelthus said back in TBC. This one says your Flame Barrier now grants 5% avoidance while active and 5% leech for 5 seconds when it breaks or expires. So a little defensive benefit. Then here we have a choice node between Lessons in Debilitation, which says your Arcane Phoenix now has a chance to cast Gravity Lapse or Supernova as exceptional spells and will periodically spell steal buffs from nearby enemies. Or Gravity Lapse, which replaces Blast Wave. It's a 30-second instant cast that suspends your target and 2 other nearby enemies in the air for 3 seconds, and then when they land, they take damage. Now, I haven't been able to tell 100%. I think this is basically a stun, but I'm not sure how it interacts with DRs or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure that's basically what this is doing. So, powerful effect. Maybe it's not a stun, maybe it's more of a root, but it's definitely holding them in place. I've tried to use this on some random enemies, and that's what it seemed to do. Okay. We have Glorious Incandescence, which says, Consuming Burden of Power causes your next cast of Phoenix Flames to call down a storm of 8 meteorites on its target, and each meteorite's impact reduces the cooldown of Fire Blast by 0.5 seconds. So you're getting 4 seconds of Fire Blast cooldown reduction every time you spend a Burden of Power and then press Phoenix Flames, and Burden of Power is what you get when you cast your Pyro Blast after a Spellfire Sphere. So once every 6 hot streaks, you're going to get a Burden of Power, and then that's going to get you 4 seconds off of Fire Blast when you then press Pyroblast and then Phoenix Flame. So it gives you a little bit of a quest to press buttons in a certain order, but even if you don't really press them in the perfect order, it's going to work. You're going to get this effect, and it's going to be nice. Here we have another choice node between Overflowing Power, which says Combustion's duration is extended by 0.5 seconds for each Spellfire Sphere you have when you cast it, up to 2.5 seconds. The other option is Sunfury Execution, which says Searing Touch damage bonus threshold is increased to 35%. So that is, of course, the Fire Mage Execute thing, and you can get this to start at 35 instead of 30% if you don't care about extra combustion, which I'm not a mage scientist, but I feel like an extra couple globals in combustion is going to be more valuable unless there's a fight that only damage below 35% matters, in which case maybe a Sunfury execution would be better. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about this. Codex of the Sunstriders says that summoning your Arcane Phoenix grants you a Spellfire Sphere, and your Arcane Phoenix can now cast Greater Pyroblast and Arcane Surge when casting an exceptional spell. And then finally, we have a choice node between either Rondermancy, which says Spellfire Spheres can now stack up to 5 times, or Ignite the Future, which says generating a Spellfire Sphere while your Phoenix is active causes it to cast an exceptional spell. So there's obviously some synergy here between making it stack up to 5 and then getting extra extensions based on the number you have. I'm not sure what the actual number correct. Like, these choice nodes are actually definitely pretty interesting ones, these two. And I'm not sure what the right answer is in terms of DPS numbers. These are just the ones that seemed good to me. But yeah, this tree is sweet. You get these orbs. Now, for some reason, even if you have 5 max spheres, you'll only generate up to 3 out of combat. And let me actually just generate some here and show you what happens, because once you get more than 3, it does look kind of weird right now. I don't want to press combustion here to make this easier to generate them as well, because that will spend them all with my Phoenix, so I gotta just make these the old-fashioned way. But yeah, okay, here we go. Bang! There's a 4th sphere now, and now they just kind of hang out behind me, but they're much smaller, so that is a little weird thing with how they look. But it's a very, very cool effect. Let me show you some of the, like, here's the meteor. Oh, I guess I ran out of duration on it, but let me just show you some of the cool stuff that you get when you're, like, just look at the visual effects that are going on right now. Isn't this cool? Those are all those meteorites coming down, right? And then, yeah, I don't know, it's sweet. You've got your Phoenix there helping out, and then your combustion's about to end, and you can just cast some free instant Pyroblast in there. It's very cool. So, a neat looking effect. You know, you get a bunch of cool spell visuals, a bunch of little quests to press buttons in a certain order. I think it's pretty sweet. Let's just quickly go check out how it changes for Arcane, which I'll be able to do once I drop combat here, which I fear is going to maybe take a little bit because, yeah, sometimes you have your ignites and stuff. But yeah, okay, here is the version of this for Arcane. So for Arcane, instead you get it every 4 times when you consume Clear Casting instead of Hot Streak. Then consuming Clear Casting gives you 3% instead of 2% haste. When you cast Arcane Surge, that's when you summon your Phoenix instead of Combustion. Burden of Power gives you only a 50% increase instead of an 100% increase, but it's to your next Blast or Barrage, so it's a little bit more important that you land that on the right thing, whereas for Fire Mage, it's always going to be on a Pyroblast unless you happen to be Flame Striking for whatever reason. Merely Setback's the same, except obviously on Prismatic Barrier instead of the other one. Gravity Lapse and Lessons in Debilitation, also the same. Glorious Incandescent now causes Burden of Power to make your next Arcane Orb, summon the 8 meteorites, and each of those meteorites' impact reduces the cooldown of Arcane Orb by 1 second and generates an Arcane Charge. So this is going to create a, you'd be at 0 charges, press Arcane Orb, 8 meteorites, build up to 4 charges or 5 or whatever, however many you're allowed to have now as Arcane. Mages in shambles listening to me have no idea how Arcane currently works. It used to be 4 at least, but you probably even send a barrage and then the other meteorites hit, and you still fill all the way back up on charges. So I don't know. I feel like that's something you'll be able to do, right? You'll be able to do barrage, sphere, barrage, even potentially as those meteorites are landing. Then over here, extra duration on Arcane Surge, obviously, instead of Combustion. Or Arcane Bombardment's damage bonus is increased to 130% health. So this is a little bit different than the Searing Touch one, right? Instead of increasing the range that Execute works in, you're increasing your damage bonus of that Execute by a sizable amount, right? Increasing that to 130%. That is a lot, up from 100%. So notable choice there. Then summoning your Arcane Phoenix grants you a Spellfire Sphere. This is the same node here on Codex. And over here, this is also the same node of either getting 5 Spellfire Spheres or the generating, giving you exceptionals. And finally, Memories of Alar says, while your Phoenix is active, you gain twice as many stacks of mana addiction. That's the same as for Fire. When it expires, you get Arcane Soul for 3 seconds, plus an additional 1 second, for each exceptional spell that it casts, and Arcane Missiles has a 100% chance to proc clear casting, is what Arcane Soul is. So that is how this differs for Arcane as compared to Fire. Overall, unbelievably cool tree in my non-mage opinion. That's why I decided to have it be, the first of these hero talent trees from the alpha build that I made a little video on. I just think this one's so sweet flavor-wise, and the gameplay, I'm not a good fire mage by any stretch, but even hitting a training dummy with these things was cool. It felt fun. So, yeah, banger of a tree as far as I'm concerned, but obviously I'm not a mage, so the mages may think differently. If you're a mage, let me know in the comments below what you think of Sunfury. I think if you're a mage, Sunfury is cool, Spellslinger's cool, Frostfire looks cool, everything just looks cool to me. It looks like it's going to be another good expansion to be a mage, which is nice because, Blizzard historically, they don't give mage a lot of cool stuff every single expansion, right? So it's good that they get one expansion where they get all the cool stuff, right? Anyways, I'm not bitter at all. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.